So you can have righteous people that go into politics with this zealousness and this passion and this belief that they can help us turn the ship around and they can make a difference. And you know what happens? They get compromised because so many of them do not understand. They are ignorant. And it's because of the lack of knowledge that the people are perishing. But you know what? I'm starting to find out is that, you know what? Even just 10 years ago, back in the Wild West days of YouTube and social media, when people could actually find information that they wanted before we were all being continually scrubbed and blotted out, there was this incredible awakening that began to take place out there. And people began to be hungry for the truth. People began to have these hook in the jaw moments and they began to study and learn for themselves. They began to open up books. They began to study historical texts like this one. You know, one I've referenced many times on here, Carl Tykerib's The Game of Gods. This is the Temple of Man in the Age of Reenchantment, which documents a great many of the history of where so much of this agenda came from when it comes to the green agenda, the woke agenda, the trans agenda, the everything that came from the United Nations. This guy infiltrated as a spy, a double agent, all of these organizations, and then came out and began to publicize what their internal documents were. Many of you who have posted documents and stuff, you don't know, but this is a guy who's responsible for it. And I just challenge people, read for yourself. Don't be ignorant. Like, yes, keep your weapons clean, keep your rifles clean, stay well trained, well armed, well prepared. Like, utilize your cognitive capacity to prepare your family as best as you can. But please understand the knowledge, the understanding of how to look at and examine the news, the current events that are taking place through the lens of history is vital. Like, look into and understand what happened on the USS Liberty. Why is it that our ally attacked our spy and reconnaissance ship and murdered so many of our people? And that it was obfuscated. Why is it that there's such an effective mechanism to confuse people and make sure that our churches are die-hard pro-Zionist Israelites? Evil, masquerading. We have a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing, and they're masquerading as pastors, and they're telling people that these are the people we stand with no matter what, while they drop napalm on our people, while they drop napalm on innocent children and burn them alive in their tent cities that they forced them into. If you think that this open-air prison system that's over there isn't a beta test for the entire world, for their concentration camp on how they want to imprison the righteous, the zealots, the remnant, understand, this is the agenda of the dark ones. This is the agenda of those who are compromised. And this is things you can spend time studying through history. You can read and examine those who gathered together under the cloak of darkness and sat together in a lot of this in the 19th century, in the 1800s, 1700s, and they began to organize a strategy to find out exactly how we could infiltrate Freemasonic secret societies and get them to help build this Zionistic state and foment this religious war. And you know what? They weaponized forms of Old Testament biblical beliefs, New Testament biblical beliefs, and different Talmudic beliefs. They mixed all these different religions to create this universalism to try to go after and target the people that are autonomous, the people that adapt and overcome and fight for freedom. And you know what? We do not have to stay slaves to them. And the righteous are rising up. When we do, you know what? The dread of us is on our enemies. That's why they're censoring us. That's why they're turning to violence. You only turn to violence when you're logically bankrupt. And that's fundamentally what so many of these people are. They understand their positions that they stand upon are logically bankrupt. There's a propaganda war that many other people can see through. And that's why they have to try to silence us. But when you persecute us, the more you persecute the righteous, the more we grow. And you know what, Sean? So many of others out there that are trying to stand on the front line, the more you attack us, the more we're going to fight. And you know what? The more disciples, the more apostles, the more other people are going to wake up, because you know what? You come after our friends, you come after our families, you come after our children and our wife. You know what? You'll get a completely different man will come roaring out after you and devour your household. And it is a terrible decision. It's a horribly dreadful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And I assure you of this, he is a good father who shepherds his sheep. And if you call upon him and ask him to be your champion, your guardian, your protector, your shepherd and your redeemer, he will do it. And he will make the dread of you beyond your enemies. These are the promises that are given to us in our covenant relationship relationship with him, that if we walk in his ways and we follow his word, we will find life abounding for us, and we will see the destruction of our enemies at his power and at his discretion.
Yeah, it's been said that there is nothing more powerful, more vengeful, more vicious than a righteous man who longs to be left alone, but will never be left alone by a sick and broken system that targets him. When that man is unleashed on those people, they will never, ever face a more fearsome warrior.